Welcome to your weekend focus for January the 13th and the 14th, 2018. My name is Tilly, and this is Tarot with Tilly, and thank you. Thank you truly for all the positive, loving, supportive energy you send my way each and every day. Let's see what the cards have to say for the energy that we are going to step into this weekend and how to use it successfully on our path forward. We start with the Two of Cups. Law of new beginnings, new passions, new dreams, new desires, new friendships, new relationships, new partnerships. You have the Four of Cups. It's all about gratitude. Be grateful for what you have. Perhaps the High Priestess sits in the middle. King of Swords is back, and we have the Ace of Pentacles. So even though we are in full moon energy, we are really contemplating, really putting our focus and attention on the new experience, the new opportunity, the new path forward, the new educational or learning experiences, the new opportunities, the new relationships that we can have. Definitely with the Two of Cups as our first card, we are looking at new relationships. Allowing to be dazzled, the brightness of the light. It's white here. It's powerful, it's strong, it's allowing us to see the possibilities of our tomorrow, to embrace our passions, our desires, our wants. Maybe stepping into a new relationship. We could be meeting new people, absolutely. Or seeing new opportunities for ourselves this weekend. Now we have the Four of Cups here as our second card. Now we do have Venus squaring Uranus this weekend. And that can sometimes bring in a want or an unconscious need for sparkly, new, adventuring, unique, wild, a sense of freedom or liberation. And so we may be looking at the grass is greener on the other side of the fence this weekend. So be careful that we are not looking at our lives, our routines as mundane or boring or depressive, and look at our lives as what is the abundance that surrounds us. What do we have to be grateful for that maybe we're taking for granted? Or we think it can be better or bigger or brighter if we just do something different or break out of a mold. Now, when we do have Venus and Uranus squaring like this, we can also be shown where we have become too rigid in our thinking, in our actions, in our words, or where we have played it safe and where we need the expansion, where we need the growth in our life, where we need the new experience or the unique experience to push us into forward motion. Maybe it is a talent or an ability that we have that we haven't utilized, and now we appreciate it more. We see how it can benefit us if we allow that part of our self-expression out, our creativity to flow, where we have stifled ourselves in some ways. Because we do have the High Priestess here. Now, the High Priestess brings in a magic, definitely. This is the veil being very thin, so our intuition is extremely strong again. So, and that has been a theme since the beginning of the new year. Our intuition is strong. Our higher wisdom has strength if we listen to ourselves, if we trust in ourselves, if we believe within ourselves, and believe that we are protected. Believe that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When we are ready on our path, the opportunity presents itself. And how do we prepare ourselves? By believing in ourselves, in our dreams, in our passions, in our abilities, and our talents. When we bring it out into the open, when we allow ourselves to experience the magic and the wonder that is already within us, and allowing it to come out for the world to see, to utilize our talents and abilities. It may be your personality, it may be your empathy or your humanitarianism or your love or your compassion or your strength or your leadership. The high priestess brings in the magic and magical experiences into our lives. But first we have to trust within ourselves, and then trust also that God, our angels, our spirit guides are all working behind the scenes to bring magical experiences into our path forward. We have the King of Swords really asking the same thing, but more of a, are you ready to commit to yourself? To say, I'm going to do this. This is what I want in my life. This is how I'm going forward in my life. This can be definitely a time where we need to have critical thinking. And critical thinking can be, well, we can be critical of ourselves, or we can be harsh or demanding to other people. Okay, that's very much a King of Swords kind of energy, where we might ruffle feathers or step on other people's toes without realizing that we're doing just that, because we are so committed to ourselves. And so we just want it now. We thought of it and we want it now. And so we are harsh, or we tend to be a little bit more blunt with others in order to pursue an opportunity, a goal, a passion, a dream. And thinking, if we leave it in the unconscious, we could very well, when it comes to critical thinking, be critical of ourselves, where we have dropped the ball, where we have not lived up to our abilities and talents, not let our best go forward. The King of Swords asks us if we're ready to make that commitment, that pledge of allegiance to our heart, our goals, our dreams, our desires. If we're ready to pick up that sword and fight, if we are ready to accept the challenge of going forward. Critical thinking should be more of, what is the opportunity? What are the strategies? What are the obstacles? How can I go forward in a positive way? How can I build strategies? Bite-sized steps in order to reach my goal, reach my dream. Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles is that new path. Aces are always a new path on the horizon for us. And next week, as we go into the energy, we will also be going into a new moon energy, new moon in Capricorn, which really talks about our new goals, our dreams, our desires, our sense of responsibility, and what we will be responsible for, what we will obligate ourselves to. What is the strategy, the new routine perhaps in our life that we need to adopt in order to go forward? What are the goals and dreams and desires? What is your definition of abundance? We will get an affirmation card. So I think beautiful, strong, magical energy is surrounding us. There needs to be a belief in ourselves, a forward focus, definitely, in what new experiences we want. Now this being in the first spot is more of our want, our need, our desire for that new experience, that new opportunity. new friendships, new associations, new partnerships, new plans going forward. And by being truthful to ourselves of our abilities and talents, of not taking other people's definition of our talents and abilities, but rather what we see as our abilities and talents, and how to master them to go forward with the strength, to commit to ourselves on a goal, on a dream, on a desire, to step into new paths of abundance, happiness, joy. We start with the Four of Earth. Prosperity in its purest form. Oh, that's the Ace of Earth. Well, I think we are headed towards prosperity in its purest form, but that's not the card that we picked. Ownership, the beauty of divine order, trusting in a solid foundation. Even if I feel shaken up and unable to understand why things happen as they do, I know for certain that divine order manifests in all aspects of my life. What I have built rests on a solid foundation, so there is no need to fear. While it is true that nothing is forever in the material world, I find security in the existence of a divine plan. Spirit is always there to remind me that I am exactly where I am meant to be for my highest good and the highest good of all, and that I always have abundance available to me. And that is so much the high priestess of knowing that you are protected, knowing that what you need will show up in your path. If you truly believe that it will show up, if you expect it, rather than worrying of lack, of allowing fear. This is asking us to understand, well, the foundation, the safety that we already have in our life, the love that we already have in our life, our talents and abilities that we already have to lean on in our life. Our friendships, our partnerships, our relationships with others. And not look at the lack thereof, but what we actually have as a great abundance right now in our life, and utilizing it going forward, knowing that we are where we are supposed to be in order to take advantage of this incredible energy. Let's do another. We have the Six of Water. Nostalgia, sweet memories, old flames. Where's the card? Yearning for the security of the good old days. We may be triggered to remember the past, and I can enjoy the warm memories, but must recognize that they are ephemeral. Emotion can color my recall and distort my understanding of what is happening today. I acknowledge and heal old wounds. I can experience security today, enveloped in the arms of divine love. There is no need to return to the illusion of a golden era of yore, because I can begin co-creating a better reality right now. Authentic healing and joyfulness will be mine if I stop rekindling the emotions of the past. So often when we look backwards, we forget the pain. That's why women can have more than one baby. We remember the better parts of it. And so when we sometimes look back, we kind of second guess our judgment, our intuition, our wisdom, because we also see where we made the wrong step or dropped the ball when we thought we were going in the right direction, when we thought we had everything under control. And we can beat up ourselves pretty easily. We can remember the good times a little bit, even the bad times. We can remember the bad times when we're looking at the nostalgia of yesterday, that they weren't that bad. And so we yearn for the yesterday, the good time, the special moments, rather than knowing that what we are creating going forward surmounts, surpasses any of those things. That we are creating new experiences, that we are creating new abundance in our life, that we are opening ourselves up to new opportunities and new joys and new dreams. Hindsight is 2020. Sometimes we see exactly where we dropped the ball or made a mistake or said something that we shouldn't have or didn't say something that we should have or did or didn't do an action that we perceive now as the wrong call. But at the time, it was the best call because it was based on the knowledge we had at the time, the wisdom we had at the time. You cannot look backwards and truly appreciate your judgment calls at the time because you have new wisdom, a stronger wisdom, more insight. One more? Let's do one more. We have the Eight of Air. The Eight of Air. Release from denial, seeing things as they are with clarity. With Spirit at my side encouraging me, I open my eyes to see things as they really are. To be disillusioned is to free myself from illusions that keep me from growth and healing. So I bid goodbye to the illusions that have clouded my vision. Honesty gives me strength and courage to face whatever I need to face. So this weekend is definitely a weekend to be honest with ourselves. To see things as they really are. To let go of the illusions that we hang on to. Where we compromise because we feel that we need to compromise. And you didn't need to compromise. Your values or your emotions, your strength or your courage or your abilities and talents. It's like somebody who can play an instrument extremely well but doesn't because they don't want to show up the other people. So they hold back. And then somebody else gets recognized and promoted for the very thing that you are best at. But you held back because you didn't want to utilize your strengths, your capabilities to the extent you should have. Are using your voice. So often we silence our voice so that we don't, well, we're not criticized or we're not in the firing line for criticism. For somebody to say we're not good enough. So we compromise. We allow things to happen that don't really match our values. This is a time to break free from the illusions. It's time to break free from where we have compromised our values or our beliefs in order to keep the peace and in order to keep the harmony. An animal card? Let's have an animal card here. Strong energy, and we are going towards a new moon. So these are the days when we want to really, really look at what things we allowed as illusions in our life. And our illusions could be believing we have nothing when we have lots. I like using the example of the fridge. We take for granted that that fridge is always going to be running, that our food is always going to remain fresh or frozen or cold until that fridge breaks. And boy, oh boy, when that new fridge arrives or the repairman arrives, we become very grateful of that fridge again. But how we take it for granted. when it's there all the time. We might do that with the people in our lives, or maybe a job, or a group of people that we belong to, or maybe it's a talent or an ability that we really, we start to think, well, anybody can do that. Well, no, not everybody can do that. You can do that. And you can do it remarkably well. Now it's time to break the illusion that you're ordinary when you're extraordinary. Under the radar. Oh, we haven't seen him in quite some time. Let's see what the possum has to say. The warrior, practical and assess. When the oak is felled, the whole forest echoes with the fall, but 100 acorns are sowed in silence by an unnoticed breeze. The possum is the master actor, knowing which role to play at the proper time. Possums have practical and intelligent energies that help them assess the situation as to which part they should play. If they feel threatened, they play dead. Possum has entered your life today because it wants you to embrace your inner warrior. It's time for you to go under the radar until the situation feels safe once more. Be careful how you use your words at this time, as you may injure relationships and cause even more ripples. Like I was saying with the King of Swords, we could ruffle feathers, we could burn bridges without even realizing that we're doing that, unless we're being very conscious. Instead, take some time to allow any arguments or miscommunications to quiet, and then don't bring them up. You don't always have to be right, and sometimes stepping away from a situation helps to heal it more quickly and effectively. You may notice work situations may feel difficult and transitions are happening. Don't start fretting that your job is in danger. Instead, let things play out around you. Don't get caught up in the dramas. Don't get caught up in the gossip. Don't get caught up in any of those kinds of energies this weekend, because unique, unusual, exciting can easily pull our focus away from our focus forward. So we want to be like the possum today. The possum will, I remember with one of my dogs, and we were in the backyard, and all of a sudden he starts barking, and I come up with the flashlight, and I see we're like 3 inches away from a possum who's playing dead. And they have like nasty little teeth, and so you don't want the possum to start thinking that he's got to fight or flight, because he will fight rather than flight, and he can do some damage if he decides to fight. But he plays dead, hoping that whatever the excitement was will quickly go by. The stress will go by, so that the possum can resume just going around and foraging for his food like he was moments prior. Well, sometimes it's not being in a fight or flight response, but rather what we are turning our attention to. Picking our battles wisely, using the right words and actions in order to move us forward in the right direction. Until we meet again, remember, I do love you.